Greetings and salutations, everyone. FireSide here. I believe this is number 7. Tonight it's going to be UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Magomedov. So, truthfully, I'm going to be honest with you. I will never try to sell you a service. I do this for fun. I love the sport. I have fun betting on fights. I have fun picking sides. I have fun watching fight tape. I train. I understand the sport well. So I try to make everyone money. I just want to reiterate that. So I'm not going to be coming at you like some Vegas guru or anyone looking to sell you a service. I just want to reiterate that. If you ever want to donate, if this channel gets big enough, if I gain a big enough following, I will gladly accept donations at your own discretion. But I will never sell you anything. I occasionally put picks on Tapology if I remember, but in June I am well over 70%. I'm up over 20 units. I have no reason to lie. I've been successful. The month previous, I wasn't as successful, but I was still positive. This year has been really good to me. Last year was my first year of tracking my action in my own personal time, and I was up over 8 units and having no real system, no real guidance. But since I found a community and a lot of beautiful people trying to do this the right way. So without further ado, after an exhilarating last weekend with the Limit Tapuria card, let's get to UFC Fight Night Strickland versus Magomedov. I like to do this after the weigh-ins. I like to really garner a feel for where each fighter is. So Romanov versus Ivanov, both fighters looked awful. Ivanov was shifty, didn't want to be there. He looked bad at weigh-ins, as bad as Romanov. I hate this fight, but I did already bet Blagoy Ivanov at plus 115. After what Romanov showed us in his last fight, I will step on his throat until he proves otherwise. Blagoy Ivanov could easily succumb to his bully pressure on the top. However, I think he's seasoned enough to not really give him those entries and to reverse the action in the cage, maybe even get a round 2 stoppage. Round 1 as Romanov crumbles. However, if you saw the weigh-ins, it looked like this guy was under a sniper rifle from the mob. Kind of crazy. So if Ivanov just randomly slips on a banana peel, you might know why. Anyways, second fight, Ivana Petrovic, Luana Carolina, very low-level women's MMA. Introductory for Ivana. I tend to fade any intro fighter. However, women's MMA, it seems like these ladies come out there and they can win their debut more often than not because the skill level is not really there across the spectrum. There's some really talented ladies, so when the next breed of MMA fighters come across these out of the top 15 for their division women, they can have their victory, they can find their out, and they can get a win on their debut. Something that I think about immediately would be someone like Emily Ducati in her debut against Jessica Penne. Now, is Ivana Petrovic going to be able to dominate the grappling the way Emily Ducati dominated the striking against Jessica Penne and had her out easily? Not as simple to just grapple your way against someone that has been against competition, who can grapple and who are technical. I do think Luana Carolina has ways to win. I hate her fighting style. Keep me away from this fight. They sized up well. Ivana is a little more cut up, maybe putting in her cardio work a little more than Luana, so that tells me maybe she will have the gas tank to just brute force her way through pressure to take Luana down repeatedly. Because even though she does have that win over Lupi Godinez, I really don't think she won that fight. bad performance by both. We'd be going up a weight class, I guess, just to collect a paycheck, and still fought an extremely close split decision, or maybe it doesn't matter. Luana Carolina, no one won that fight. Let's stop using it to her credit. She likes to get backed up. She won't circle at times, but she does have a good jab and ability to keep that front range. So if Ivana can find her way to the side, which she likes to outside trip and do trips in the clinch. So if she's clashing in WMMA and she has more than just a headlock takedown, then we got to give her credit and we got to take her seriously. But I can't pick her at the price. It's impossible. You will never find me doing that. So maybe just due to Luana Carolina's history outside of getting knocked out by Molly McCann, we just favor the over in the fight. If you bet the money lines, good luck to you. Always. Guram Kutateladze versus Elvis Brenner. This line is completely out of hand. They sized up well. Elvis Brenner has a little more fat on him. Guram, not an ounce of fat. I don't know how he walks around at that body fat. He must hate life. Elvis Brenner, though, has the durability to compete with Guram, who is low output. Both tend to counter-strike. But Elvis Brenner likes to spam kicks. Whether or not that allows him to be open to Guram's pressure remains to be seen. Zubair Tukhugov, speaking of UFC caliber competition, didn't really do much takedown-wise. He just tried to counter with his hook, with his timing, and he did at times, but it's Zubair. He's very technical. Guram can get sweaty and dirty down there, and that's where someone like Elvis Brenner can catch him. He is a dog. Do I know if I'll get there by fight night? Probably, because I'm a degen. But Guram, I'm not going to parlay him. I'm not going to put him in anything serious. Maybe just a full fight card parlay or something like that, just for one side of an action. Not that I really parlay too much these days. I'm more of like a sides and exact finish type guy. But Elvis Brenner does have outs to win this fight. Would not be surprised to see him edge it as a dog because of so much action on Guram. So just something to keep in mind. Up to Carol Rosa Yana Santos. Carol Rosa looked like she just got off the couch, which she did. Whether or not her technical aspects can just carry her. And a Yana Santos who came in shape and sized up well with her, so she's not going to have that takedown aspect. So if they're striking at range, it's going to be a close ladies fight unless someone decides to pull up the gas and fight through hell. And for that reason, I'll just take Yana Santos. Carol Rosa did not look good, but you can guarantee this fight could go the distance. However, Carol Rosa did look like she's just showing up to show up because she's doing a favor to the UFC by giving Yana Santos a paycheck as well. And not having another canceled fight. So Joe Anderson Brito, Weston Wilson. Wish I laid the chalk on Brito minus 250, I think, when this first dropped. I had considered it highly. However, bankroll rise, not a too good of an idea. However, where the line is blown up is seriously ridiculous. So you have to play this certain ways. Weston Wilson, I don't know too much about him. Sizing up, though, he does have that type of advantage, so Brito isn't necessarily going to be able to just go in and bully him with some type of double underhook. He might have to hurt him first or go for a single leg type takedown or some trip on his lower half, because smaller fighters trying to take down a bigger fighter with double unders isn't always the best strategy. You got to attack them at a different angle. But Weston Wilson, he's going to want to weather the first round entirely. Maybe that's what Weatherboy's telling him. But this is in a small cage. Is he going to be able to just use lateral movement coming in on short notice against a berserker like Brito? Is just going to find that hook into just some type of finish early. Under type of fight, you can't. You're a pure gambler if you put money on Wilson. It's crazy. Guy just seemed happy to be there. Brito was so intimidating. You could see his smile just kind of crack down into nothing when they were staring at each other. So Brito should smash by all means. Kevin Lee, Renat Fakhretdinov. Kevin Lee sized up well. Renat, we know what he wants to do. Typical Sambo style smothering grappler that Kevin Lee can shrug off in the first round, but the assumption is he's going to fade in the second round. He just seems like he came in shape. He came in to win this fight. I think I want Kevin Lee. I'm not sure about Renat anymore, especially if Kevin Lee has quite an intelligent approach and punches the body early with big power in his rear hand, which he does have. I like the face-off. I think Kevin Lee's ready. He's got the experience. I don't know why the UFC would just sacrifice him to some nobody Russian that just looks like the IT guy. I don't know. You have Kevin Lee, who's pretty hype. Interesting story. A comeback fight. And we do know several people, like a Robbie Lawler, that come back after just having a hiatus from the UFC, and they were successful. Is Kevin Lee fit in that barrel? 7 losses, 19 wins. He's lost every which way. Some more demoralizing and heartbreaking than others, but I'm sure every loss gets taken seriously. Not too much to learn from the Diego Sanchez fight or to be too critical about, considering he got injured early. And as we've seen, especially late in the second half of last year, anyone can get injured at any time taking a wrong step. I'm not going to hold that against him. So this fight's super close. The line is blown up, then just pick the underdog. If it's even 55-45, you've got an edge. So that's where I would see it, because Kevin Lee does have that moment-winning stuff, and Renat is just looking to control the clock in many ways. So it's up to Kevin Lee to have that heart to power through, something he can most likely do. So I might take my side, my FireSide, for fight number 7 up the card. Nursultan Ruziboev versus Bruno Ferreira. Stare downs are what many expected because of Ruziboev's size. I would just say that if you have Renzo Gracie Philly blessing and them backing you as a fighter, and you've made it this far, then especially with 42, 44 fights, you might know how to handle the pressure and the power of a Bruno Ferreira, who I'm not going to buy that Gregory Rodriguez win. Rodriguez just started to walk into hooks at the last half of the first round. Kind of sad to watch, considering he does usually have technical boxing. He just showed up for a paycheck. He just healed from getting his skull split wide open down to the tendons. One of the most disgusting cuts you'll see. It's amazing that he was not finished by Njokuani in that fight. And then he shows up shortly after, basically as soon as he heals, to get knocked out by Bruno Ferreira. So this is like Contender Series version 2 style fight to me. I'm not going to be laying chalk on a Bruno Ferreira. So Rizaboev is a side, especially because of side advantages. If he's a complete fraud and he gets knocked out, then Gracie Philly doesn't know what they're talking about. We don't have to give Joe Pyfer or Sean Brady or any of those other guys any credit for their opinion, because they're just trying to hype their own talent, of course. So Rizaboev, I don't know the exact finish. It's like you don't even need to look on finishes on a lot of these dogs because these lines are out of control. You can just tell the books are taking like tons of parlays and all these things, so they just jack the lines up to make them unparlayable. On the other hand, you can't even bet the money line, so you have to find some other way. Maybe that's an overfight with Rizaboev controlling the distance. It might have a good price. I don't have it exactly in front of me. Benoit Saint Denis, Ishmael Bonfim. This is another one where the price is kind of crazy, but Bonfim has a ton of experience. He has a good style for the UFC. Really top level Brazilian type fighter, Vale Tudo type guy that just has power, can weather adversity, especially early, and really even shrug off anything his opponent does, it seems like. So Benoit Saint Denis, got to be made of iron in this fight. He can be. He did have a size advantage. Ishmael Bonfim probably is used to punching upwards. Is Benoit Saint Denis used to punching down? Maybe. I don't know. The guys he's fought kind of taller, it seemed like, from the tape I watched. Zaleski, bigger guy. His last one out, he threw down. He was catching so many shots. Maybe he's learned from that. I would expect someone, especially at his early stage career in this sport, that his coaches are catching him getting caught, and they're like, listen, we need to figure this out. But it's bad to assume. Anyway, Benoit will fight for your money, so I don't know if I'll get there on fight night. But like I said, probably, because I'm a degenerate. I would not want Ishmael Bonfim, but he might just look his price. I hope for people that do have him that he does. Ariane Lipsky, fight number 9, versus Melissa Gatto. I like the matchup. Melissa Gatto actually did not have too much of a size advantage over Lipsky. Gatto's front kicks can help out against Lipsky's pressure with her boxing. And, Gatto is a striper 2 purple belt. I do follow her Instagram occasionally. Exchange messages in Portuguese. She'll work on her English a little bit. Not that I'm trying to name drop. It's just I followed her earlier in her career and thought she had a good style for the sport, especially as a lady. It's not too often you see a lady that has her finishing ability and aggression, as well as some of like her length, especially the aggression in the ground. Like, I just hate conceding bottom, and she did that against Tracy Cortez and broke my heart. I'm never going to message her that or anything like that. But, I'm sure she knows where she went wrong. She's had an arm injury. She's coming back against someone riding high. I can't say that the UFC would want either to win over the other. They're both extremely marketable in their own ways, style-wise, looks-wise, anything. So I'll probably just stay off this fight since I favor Gatto so much. She's like kind of a friend since she interacts with me when most fighters won't. They'll just completely ignore you and they won't even look at your message. But Gatto will talk back. Lipsky, though, her getting knocked out by Priscilla, bad look to me. It means she'll just stand there and take a shot. Gatto does have power. as much as Eubanks cracks under pressure these days, finishing her with a liver shot is pretty impressive. So Gatto knows where to aim her kicks well. Lipski will most likely be trained for that. And like I said, they sized up well. Lipski actually, she could have some size there and some power in the clinch, and Gatto just gets taken down again and can't do anything off her back. But I do expect her to be scrappy enough to last if that situation would happen, and then maybe find an opening. It's hard to imagine too much of a finish unless it's Gatto with some type of submission. So just Gatto out of favoritism. I didn't like how size-wise, normally she's a bigger lady here, but Lipski did seem bigger. Maybe it was the angle, and GSP is huge. We'll see. Michael Morales, Max Griffin. Griffin's going to come to fight. He's going to try and put it on this newcomer, Morales. So we know for a fact Morales will have a round and a half at least for us to give. Max Griffin will for sure have the whole fight. Morales can find a late finish. By a round and a half, I just mean a round and a half of very strong, precise output on his behalf before he kind of breaks down. So this is a really good fight. Money line wise, Morales is the understandable favorite. I'm not going to say anything most don't know by this point. I truly like to see weigh-ins before I do these type of videos, even though I've only done a few. So Max Griffin, his out is to weather and hope that Morales fades and doesn't have the speed and the youth advantage and the other advantages that everyone thinks he has over someone like Griffin. Speed, power, finishing ability. So Griffin's gatekeeping the top of the division. Can Morales get by him? I think he can. Maybe a parlay piece this card. But could Max Griffin just edge him and get a split? Not out of the realm of possibility. So depending on that price, or even him by decision, would be something to consider. But Michael Morales to get the dub. Tamir Ismagulov, Grant Dawson. Ismagulov's coming with the jab. Grant Dawson's coming with that American wrestle box type pressure. I like Demir as a fighter more than I like Dawson, for reasons being that his technical prowess tends to shine more than just some heart aspect, where we do know he has heart and that he will grind and not give up in a fight, even when dominated like against Arman. So someone like Grant Dawson has an example to follow to beat him, because Arman is the only relevant person at this time to do that. So Grant Dawson, assuming he has the grappling and pressure and the entries and ability to time Demir and take him down, that's how he would win by decision. Demir, though, just has to stop that. And when the grappling's fairly even, you have to favor the better striker, and to me that would be a Demir Ismagulov. So I am picking him to win by decision. Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov. Sean Strickland, there's some pretty short notice type fights. It just seems like this card was thrown together all last minute. So a lot of that, keep in mind if you're laying any kind of money on this card, because the chalk is not worth the squeeze. You're better off, in a true 50-50 fight, These guys might not show up as minus 200s, minus 190s, and this and that. They might just show up as looking like the dog, and all of a sudden it's, look, I parlayed this truck, I bet this and that, and now all of a sudden I've just thrown away any gains. So that's just one aspect that I feel that I've learned. Not the newest type of lesson. I'm sure people have experienced that plenty of times over. I know I have, but it's so tempting because it feels like some guy will for sure win. Like your Michael Morales, like your Ismail Bonfim, or Bruno, or Renat, or Joe Anderson, or Guram. I mean, some people even really high on Carosa. But, if you already laid that ticket down and you didn't see weigh-ins, and now you've seen weigh-ins, are you sweating like a mofo right now? I would be. I would want to cash out. And I would maybe just forget about that fight entirely. Because Yana is going to want to win. You think she's content? Especially not with a real training camp, Anyways, back to Sean Strickland, Abbas Magomedov. Sean Strickland with that volume, with his footwork. He's always cutting the cage or trying to time his opponent. And something I noticed with Magomedov, he does have a ton of pressure in the first round and tends to slow in the tape that we've seen. However, his opponents, when they really have success with him, they are boxing. The tape showed me he is prone to getting outboxed, so I just favor Sean Strickland because of that. He's becoming increasingly annoying. I don't know if it's just confidence because he gets, bigger paycheck, slightly bigger, more money. He's fighting so many fights a year now, just getting an ego, but he's a good fighter. He's saying women belong in the kitchen. How can you not hate him? He's this easy heat right now. But give me him. I don't think he's going to be able to knock out Abbas. Abbas is in shape for this fight. The thing is, Abbas doesn't know how to box in the inside, and that's where Sean Strickland's going to catch him and win this fight on output in rounds 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just give it a 49-46 Sean Strickland win. I like it. MMA, anything can happen. But that's all I have. Those are my thoughts. Post weigh-in, a week's worth of research. Thank you to everyone in the community. You know who you are. Reminder, I pre-record this shit. So if you feel offended, I don't respond to you in the video when you give something out in chat. Don't be. I love you equally. Try to be in there during the premiere and just interact in chat. I just find it easier to pre-record. So interact as you wish. Please give me a like. Subscribe if you haven't. Love you all. See you next time on FireSide Chat.